Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris, your mic guy, and I'm over the moon about today's video here. Earlier this week or last Thursday, Audio Technica announced a brand new microphone coming into their entry-level lineup, being the AT2040. This is their hypercardioid dynamic broadcaster mic, and this thing just looks absolutely beautiful. My suspicion is that Audio Technica has seen the popularity of the Rode Pod mic, and now they've wanted to get into that entry-level dynamic market and provide something that's quality, that's going to pump up the crowd and really get the Audio Technica fans to go after this. As far as I know, this is Audio Technica's first dynamic mic in this spectrum. They have a ton of cardioids in the 20 series, in the 40 series, but I haven't seen very much dynamic from them, so we'll see how this goes. In this video here today, we're going to put this up to a few tests as well as compare it to our 2040, which is a very, very similar priced condenser version of this microphone. So we'll see how those compare as well. Let's talk about the build quality, then we'll do some tests, then we'll do that comparison, and we'll see how this thing does. So let's get to that. First of all, in the box today, you are going to get your microphone itself. You're going to get your user documentation, pretty standard. You're going to get a little pouch, little cushiony pouch here. A little small for the size of the microphone. When you put it in there, it does bulge out a little bit, but definitely there to help protect your microphone. And lastly, you're going to get a 5/8 to 3/8 to 5/8 inch adapter for, standard mic arms and things like that. I will say, this thing weighed in when I weighed it. Documentation says 615 grams. I weighed it in at 616. This thing is heavy. It's not a light microphone. Be very careful with your plastics. I really wish they would have given you a brass adapter here, and just for security purposes, just in case. You don't want to over tighten this and get this tight or cracked or loose or anything like that and cause issues to drop your heavy mic. Speaking about the weight, when you put this thing on any type of mic stand, be very careful. I originally tried to have this set up on a boom arm, and my mic stand just wanted to fall over nonstop. Don't use a cheap one by any means. I have a couple of just generic cheap mic stands here that I've, used in the past for lighter mics and definitely would not hold up. Even in this straight up configuration, it was leaning pretty heavy just from the sheer weight of the microphone. Now, Audio Technica did dial down the frequency response on this thing. It does go from 80 hertz to 16,000 hertz. Not what you would typically see in a condenser, which is usually like 20 to 20 kilohertz or something like that. So definitely try to get it to where it didn't pick up that muddiness, that low end, that extra noise and things like that. They definitely wanted this to be broadcaster kind of oriented, and I think that's how they build that broadcaster style sound out of it. In terms of additional accessories, you do have the opportunity to get a shock mount. I think it's like the AT2040 or something like that is the part number, but they do make a separate shock mount that this thing slides into. Probably something that you're going to want. I'll do a shock mount test later on in the video here, but just something that you might want to look into depending on how you're going to have this thing mounted and how it's going to be set up. First thing I'm going to do here today is go ahead and do a polar pattern test. Again, this is hypercardioid polar pattern. So the intention is it's going to try to reject out as much as it can once it gets off axis. You're going to start to see, hopefully, my voice taper off really quickly, and you'll have some good results with that. I think this part of it is one of those things that a lot of young creators neglect because in their recordings or their broadcasts, they don't include the amount of ambient sound that is being intruded into their audio recordings, and it's something very important. So let's take a look and see how this plays out. I'm just going to pick up the microphone on the stand here, and I'm going to rotate it to the side, hoping I'm not getting too much handling noise here. But we're just getting over, we're exactly 90 degrees on the first half of the microphone here. I should be pretty cleared out, pretty tapered off. We're going to go to the back of the microphone. I'm actually going to point it right at the camera here, so I'm kind of on the back side of it. I'm getting kind of close to the capsule, just trying to determine how much distance also plays a part in this, so you guys can tell. We're going to bring it back, and I'm going to try to get up real close. We're going to keep going, kind of giving you guys some opinions on how this rejection works. If I get really far away, how much is getting intruded? If I snap, if I use a higher sound, how much of that's being included into this? This is something that, a lot of people want to know. A lot of people want to understand how this mic reacts and how it kind of plays with the different audio levels at different distances. And the next thing we're going to do here is a plosive test. For those of you that are wearing headphones, I don't know how this is going to work yet. I haven't played with it, but let's find out. We're gonna intentionally pop right into the microphone here, get some air moving in there, and see how this coil reacts, see how it responds to these noises. So here we go. Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. And now with my mesh metal windscreen, Peter picked lots of peppers from Paul's patch. So I do think that there was some clipping there when we were doing the pop sequence, but I have to say that I don't think it was terrible. It wasn't really, really, really bad. It seems like it captures it. Obviously, you hear it in the headphones, you hear it happen, but I think it does a pretty good job of not making this like big boom sound. Again, what you might see from a typical condenser or something like that. Now we're going to do a little bit of a shock test here. I'm going to tap on my mic stand, just see how much of this actually intrudes into the microphone. Not quite sure. I think it has some level of internal noise rejection or internal shock capabilities, but with these, you're typically, I really like the all metal construction because they usually do a little bit better in vibrations. They usually sustain it a little better, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some level of shocks being introduced here. Otherwise, why would Audio Technica, take the time to design a big shock mount design for it? So hopefully that does good. Again, I really hope, not listening myself, but I really hope that this does better than some of the condensers in this price range just because of the design. I really hope that Audio Technica built in some good shock qualities inside of there. And now we're going to get into our proximity test here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back. I'm about, maybe about 2 feet away from the microphone now, just to show you how much this changes as you get away from it. With these, what they call broadcaster style microphones, you're going to want to get nice and close to them. You're going to want to be very indulging to your environment. You're going to want to enjoy, and then you're going to get that nice proximity effect. Again, I don't want to bang the mic arm. I don't want to pop too much here, but we're going to get nice and close. And we're going to tell you guys how amazing this thing is going to sound if you get this close to it. It's going to pick up every little audible frequency that you can enunciate or anything like that. So these are one of those things that, the RE320, the SM7B, these other well-known broadcaster style microphones, you got to make sure you use them. You got to make sure you enjoy them. Might as well get close to it. And the next thing we're going to do here is now I'm going to get another set of cables. I'm going to hook this up to my AT2020 or hook it alongside my AT2020, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison for just a little bit to see what the audio differences are between the 2020 and this 2040. And now we have our AT2040 and our Audio Technica AT2020. Now I should be putting meters on the bottom of the screen as long as they record properly. So if you do, the AT2040 is currently recording on the left channel and the AT2020 is currently recording on our right channel. As far as design, as I mentioned before, these are, if you see, Audio Technica loves this black, straight, simple. The mesh grills are very similar. The design on these is not that much different, but as you can tell, there's a big difference in the way you speak into them. So again, this is a top address and this is a front address, as I like to say. Side address, front address, top end. There's a couple different ways people reference them or mention them. So just so you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I've always been a fan of the 2020. I think it's a little sensitive, not having a lot of mesh here, not having good pop rejection or anything like that. So it's a very, very sensitive microphone. And I'm going to show you that in an example here. Again, assuming these meters are working, I'm going to show you this example about why I think it's more sensitive, because as these are both set up to the same recording level right now, if I be quiet, you should see a lot more activity from the AT2020 in this room, right? I have a ceiling fan going. I have a mini fridge over here. I have my computer running in the background, right? The intention isn't to be in a booth environment. This is something that somebody who's in a home office, home studio is going to be recording in. This is what you're going to be looking at in terms of intruding noise as far as what you might hear in your recordings. Again, it's not really audible per se unless you crank up your headphones. If you're trying to do a studio mix, this might not be the type of environment you want to be in, of course. But as far as podcasts, streams, things like that, very entry-level type of work, you have a very, very easy job of telling the difference between what each of these microphones are capable of doing. Now, as far as self-noise, both of these microphones should do a really good job. I don't have a real good, again, with the ambient noise as loud as it is in this room, I don't have a real good way of testing self-noise here, but that's coming in the future. I'll do self-noise tests on a bunch of different microphones to show you exactly how those set up. I'm building a chamber to be able to do that. But this portion of the video, I wanted to just, again, have an opportunity to put these two microphones side by side, jump back and forth between the audio tracks, so you guys have an opportunity to hear what similar priced microphones would come up as. And now my final thoughts, pros and cons of the microphone. I definitely think that this microphone is a little top heavy. It's very, very sharp in the highs. It's actually a little chill in the mediums too. In the mids. The entire video was recorded without any equalization, and now in this final portion, I just took a tiny bit off of those highs and mids just because I felt like it was a little too sibilant for me, for my voice, for my talking style. I just didn't really like it. As far as noise rejection, I kind of wish it was a little stronger. I kind of wish you got that extra, just when you got off to the side, it totally cut everything out, or at least a little better. To me, I feel like it didn't even make my voice sound even that much quiet. It just made it sound different. I can't even explain what this noise rejection was doing on this one, but definitely not what I think of when I think of hypercardioid. So there was that too. And then again, shock absorption. You guys heard when I was doing that test, and it just, to me, didn't pan out right. I didn't like it. I feel like this thing doesn't have very good pop rejection. It's something that you're definitely going to want to shock mount for if you're using it on any type of hard surface, or you have it connected to anything that you're going to be touching or moving around on. Pop filter, pop rejection, I think it did a pretty good job outside of the fact that I clipped the microphone when I was doing that. I think it did a good job at blocking that initial woof of the sound and getting that out of there. The internal windscreen's got to be doing a good job there. Overall, for a broadcaster style microphone, right in the price range that fits, I think this is the quality you could expect. You got to remember that broadcaster style is such an interesting market because you have your RE320, your RE20, your SM7B, your big bad $400, $300, etc. microphones, and then you're throwing a $100 version of it in. The pod mic, the AT2040, these other smaller ones, they gotta give up somewhere in order to meet that price. Otherwise, they'd just be right up in that same level. So I think that you're looking at a very, very good microphone for that $100 price range. Somebody who's looking to get into, personally, this could be an amazing podcasting mic with some good equalization to fit your voice. This could be a really, really good entry-level microphone for you. At this point, I would probably start recommending this over the AT2040 or the AT2005 or something like that if you already have an XLR setup. Other than that, if you're still USB, obviously there's no competition there. I would love to see Audio-Technica add $25, $30 to this and bring a USB version of it to the market, because then I think it would be a huge hit. And that's going to be all from me today. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It lets YouTube's algorithm know that I'm doing something that you guys enjoy. If you didn't, drop down in the comments. Tell me why. Tell me what happened. Tell me what you guys wanted to see that I didn't do. Additionally, if you guys like the microphone, tell me why. Tell me what you want to hear from it. If you guys want other comparisons to other dynamics or condensers that I have in my locker, again, comments, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it provides content for what you guys want to see. Other than that, my name's Chris, the mic guy. We will check you next time.